Pro Saints Talk, we're in season. We finally made it. The longest offseason in history will come to an end this Sunday against the Dirty Birds in Atlanta. We break that game down, try to name 5 players on the Falcons roster. Also, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he gone. What was the plan? Why the return? Man, we take a deep dive into that. Also, George Landrum opening up a beer garden, Covington. We've got dates, all that and more next on Pro Saints Talk.
Look at uptown people like yeah yeah yeah. People up in Britain like yeah yeah yeah. Mid city folks like yeah yeah yeah. People downtown man yeah yeah yeah.
Where you at, Hoodats? And welcome to Week 1, 2022 Pro Saints Talk. It's Falcons Week. We're kicking it off right, and hey, couldn't kick it off any better than a special guest right here. Want to kick it over and see how my main man Andrew's living. Andrew, how we living, baby?
Hey, I'm living lavish, just like George would say. Just did my fantasy draft at the Beer Garden October 2nd. I believe that's when the opening date is for the Saints London game. We're just hanging out, having a good time, filling in for George for a second while he cleans up a little bit. But yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
Andrew, love the ad read for all y'all. Covington Beer Garden coming at you soon. North Shore, get ready. You got nothing like this right now. It's going to be an incredible scene, and yeah, we'll be live for London. Jay, how we doing, baby?
Doing great, man. So does that mean that the beer garden will be open at 9 a.m. on that Sunday? Is that what time?
8 a.m. I think.
Yeah, it's 8 a.m.
Wow.
8 o'clock.
Wow, I love that.
Jay, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
I might even have to make it across the causeway for that.
I heard Boogie's organizing a bus, dude. It's gonna be a heck of a setup. We're bringing UTO all the way to over that causeway, baby.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. So look, Jay, huge week 1, dude. I sometimes it's a blessing and a curse in terms of like, man, like sometimes you want a little appetizer before you jump into Falcons week like this. But man, when it kicks off a season like this, because this isn't the first time, boy, it just goes 0 to 100 real quick. Divisional game, divisional rival. And look, this one may not be sized up as the most competitive billing that we've ever seen when it comes to Saints Falcons. It's a new era for them as well. So let's, I guess, break into the Falcons first, and then we'll get into some of the more recent just tremors that have been sent through this fan base here in terms of deals and injuries. So Jay, Saints Falcons week 1 vibes, how we feeling?
I like where we are, Rob, from a personnel standpoint and how we match up with them. Arthur Smith is a second-year coach. They're undergoing a lot of change with the organization. Matt Ryan, who is a mainstay with them, who we all know, who had a lot of good years there and played particularly well against the Saints, is gone, which is a welcome sight for Saints fans. Calvin Ridley is suspended for the year. Kyle Pitts should take another step. A.J. Terrell, their draft pick last year, played really well. So this is a team that inside the division, is going to always play tough, but they're the type of team that I don't mind playing them early, because if they're going to have any success, Ron, I think it's going to come late in the year. A team that needs to find their identity, and they'll probably find it as they go. In no way am I thinking it's going to be an automatic W, but I feel pretty confident about it, even despite the issues that we've had rise to the surface in the last 7 to 10 days or so.
Yeah, so I guess let's talk about those issues. And George, do we have you back?
I'm here. We had the upgrade with Andrew there for a minute there, but now you got the old sport George back. Happy to be back. Jay, that's a very good point. This Falcons team has bad beginning written all over them. And just when the fan base checks out and they all stop going to the games is how this team will end up being 7-10, 7-9-1 all over again, and forego their opportunity to have a top draft pick. You see that every year in and year out with the Falcons, and I love playing them week one. You want to start early, for the same reasons why you have college football teams play Appalachian State, Michigan, First Johnson, where you at early in the season. You want to have your easy opponents early. Like when the Saints won the Super Bowl, we played the Lions week one when they were no good. And that, thrust us into winning. And no, you don't want to play a divisional opponent week one, but when they're no good, it's a great way to start the season. I mean, if you look at their roster from top to bottom, maybe tight end is the only position that they're actually better than us. So I love playing the Falcons week one. Sometimes you say, no, play an AFC team week one, so if you lose, it doesn't hurt your playoff stance as much as a divisional or conference loss. But say la vie, let's go beat the shit out of the Falcons.
No, George, I love the comment on the roster there, because I'd challenge you, George. Can you name another wide receiver on this roster besides Calvin Ridley?
Well, I have the cheat sheet in front of me, so yeah, I mean, of course, but they're just in disarray, and the Saints are coming off some bad news, and that might be good because I feel as though the Saints were coming in really hot. There was so much good publicity with the Saints coming into the season that maybe they were going to be humbled week one, but instead of the humbling happening on the football field, it happened off the field. You lost your left tackle, Trevor Penning, our boy, the guy we love so much, out till week 10, week 11. Then we lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, if not our favorite Saint, right there with Trevor Penning. And I know you alluded to the trade, but, man, we should have started the episode with that, not going straight to Falcons week. There's so much news. I mean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is – so we talked on the previous episodes how much fun it's going to be with having Honey Badger with Chauncey. And it's just such a shame that we lost him because, yeah, you want to see DA stick up for his principles, and I agree with that. But at the end of the day, we were all talking endlessly about how fun it's going to be to have the secondary with Chauncey, with Honey Badger, with Lattimore, with Marcus May, who's also has a question mark in the future.
Okay, first off, George, if you want to host the podcast, you can set the agenda.
Put me back in, man.
And then heck, you tapped Andrew in, so I thought you were out. I thought you were out. So
that was for fun because we owe Andrew a lot of credit. We owe him a lot of credit.
We weren't all talking about how it was going to be all roses with that secondary. I'm the one that said, is it too much personality? Right. Is it too much ego back there? And sure enough, the ego revealed itself. Little did we know that all of this was brewing with CJGJ and that he needed the big Jimmy Graham paycheck of, hey, I play a weird position, but I still want to get paid like a top 5 corner. Ain't going to happen, dude. Mickey Loomis, too smart. He's put his foot down before on that kind of stuff. And then when things got sour, I mean, dude, we had to make a move. So that's really unfortunate. But I think we've highlighted a positive here of going up against a wide receiver core like this. And, yes, Kyle Pitts, but no supporting cast. And Marcus Mariota, this is just the confidence builder that they need in week one right here to show everybody why we're still loaded in the secondary. We're going to be just fine. Give me an Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. Relax, George. All right. But look, Jay, he talked about Trevor Penning. How big of a deal is this? We were talking about this being good for competition. It might have been Hurst to start out the year anyway, but now it's like, man, you don't have him getting those reps. You don't have that insurance policy. How big of a concern is this rumor? George is reporting it like it's fact. This rumor that he's going to be out till November.
I mean, he had surgery today. That's not a rumor. He had surgery. Get Simo on the line.
It totally took the wind out of my sails being at that preseason game and seeing how well the offense was playing, how well Jameis was playing, and how well Penning was playing. If you listen to the last episode, George, I don't think you can say that I certainly had my skepticism about him coming from where he came from, and I thought he really improved each game, especially in that game in particular. And unfortunately, it's a part of it, but it really seemed like he was starting to find his traction until Jawan Johnson didn't lift his eyes and went right into his knee. So very, very disappointing. James Hurst is serviceable, average to good. He's an outstanding Band-Aid, but it gives me some concern for him to be your starting left tackle for 8 weeks, especially coming off injury, especially protecting the blind side of a guy that's coming off an ACL injury, coming off a high ankle sprain. And you can almost see when Jameis is thinking too much in the pocket. So I hope Hurst crushes it at left tackle, but it really worries me.
Ron, what can I say? Well, one thing I want to say about Jansen. Jay, was that totally pun intended? Because that was a fantastic pun. How you opened it up with that? Maybe not. Okay. But, Ron, can I tell you what's most dreadful about Hurst? So, Hurst, we all love. Like Jay's just said, he's a fantastic Band-Aid. But he's coming off his own injury. Okay, here's why it's terrifying. Don't make me say the name. Don't we all say the name? If he goes down, who does that shuffle to left tackle? Not our boy.
Don't you do it
Not
to
our
me, George.
Pac-12 hero. Not Mr. Baby Fat himself. Not Mr. Cement Blocks for Feet.
Has he
Andrews
ever
Pete.
played left tackle for us?
Yes, Jay. Of course he's played left tackle. You're not putting Landon Young out there. It'd either be Landon Young or maybe you shift Ramrod there, or you do what we used to do and move Andrews Pete to left tackle, which would be terrifying. So you love Hurst as your swing tackle, but he can come in and fill the role admirably. But what gets terrifying, because Ron, we're about to eat some crow here, because last episode we were saying how great our offensive line, and Jay was a bit skeptical. He may be right, because that one injury to Penning, and now we're very susceptible.
Well, I mean, come on. That's easy to say, right? I mean, yes. Okay. I guess we'll give Jay his flowers here and say,
Thank you.
he was so right that the offensive line was our weak point, our vulnerable point. And you know, hey,
back on that.
But let me just hit you, Jay, real quick, and then we'll circle back, because I'm pretty sure it was you that taught us that you're never just one player away. All right. So this all line is going to be just fine.
Okay. Yeah. You're never one player away. Thinking about the conversation later after the episode, I think a lot of that reasoning stemmed from, for me, that, look, you can win a Super Bowl being average at tight end. Does it help to be dynamic there and have great players there? Absolutely. Run through the list of the prior Super Bowl winners. But you can't afford – when's the last Super Bowl winner that has had an average offensive line? And that's the point that I was trying to make. Not that, if you compare the talent at tight end, offensive line, or anything like that, but it's a crucial position. I don't need to tell you all that.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say there, Jay, is I think, we could probably go back and do a little bit of homework here and see that there were Super Bowl winners that maybe didn't start out the year with what was touted as a complete offensive line, and they gelled over the course of the season and got to playing in a really nice rhythm, with each other. So the potential's still there for us. And heck, I mean, you get Penning back midseason. Who knows what the recovery's like on this thing? You always, I get a little worried about that. If like you got a foot injury and you're already over $3 billion, like you ain't doing any cardio. How in shape is he going to come back? So I'm a little concerned about that.
It just sucks because of everything that we've talked about him coming from Northern Iowa, getting the reps, how much better he got with the reps, that he's going to miss a chunk of time, right? Even if he wasn't necessarily the starter, which looked like that's the trajectory that he was on, he'd still be getting the reps in practice every week that he's not going to get anymore. So it's just unfortunate.
Oh, yeah. Under the microscope, in every snap from, Ronnie PPF and Donnie PPF, everybody that thinks they know how to grade offensive linemen all of a sudden. But for whatever reason, the PFF stats were showing that he was off the charts when it came to run blocking. And it makes sense, based on his style of play, his aggression, his strength. Yeah, he was getting beat on some of the pass rush moves, but I mean, that's him just coming up to speed and learning where he's got to position himself for success and learn some of his opponents through film study, all that kind of stuff that comes with the next level of being a professional. But okay, let's shift gears a little bit to this new rivalry. This kind of feels like we're turning the page here on Saints Falcons. Dennis Allen taking over the reins. George, what I'm looking for this week is what kind of juice is DA bringing to this rivalry? Like, we got a taste of that last year when he was head coach, and we saw what he could do on the road for that Bucs game. And just, man, it felt great to dominate a divisional opponent like that. But we all know that this Falcons rivalry has got to be special. It's got to be personal. Do you see it coming out of DA, or is he going to be too businesslike for this?
Okay, the first thing about DA before we get into the Falcons game is how we handle the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson situation. Wait, quick. So my boy Barrios, eager, my favorite Barrios. This guy, Steven Barrios, Jay, is the best Barrios I've ever met. He's right next to me. We'll get him on in a bit. There's other
Sounds like
Barrios.
you haven't met Brooke.
There's a good one, dog. Good one. Okay, here's the thing. So remember when Sean Payton took over from Jim Haslett, and he had all those character problems in the locker room, and he sent a message. One of the big ones was he trade Stallworth to the Eagles and got a 4th-round pick for him. And you hear all these reports that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson couldn't have handled his holdout any worse. He was showing up as he saw fit, playing as he saw fit, talking back to the coaches, being very conspiratorial with them. And, okay, I agree with DA having to get rid of him. Could we have gotten more for him with more patience? Of course, but that's beside the point. So now DA is forming his own attitude, his own identity to this team. And that is where it starts week 1. So you're saying, what's he going to do to make for the Falcons? He's not worried about the Falcons. He's worried about controlling this locker room, because think of all the characters you have on this team. Honey Badger, Cam Jordan, Lattimore has a lot of personality, Jarvis Landry, who's super gung-ho and focused and part of this team, Mike Thomas, Kamara, Clickbait, Jameis. I mean, he's not worried about how do I get, everyone riled up for the Falcons. He's about controlling the locker room, because there's so many talented yet opinionated people. And when the trade was announced, I think we were all baffled by the lack of return, because first it said, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was traded. And you're like, shoot, we lost our guy. But then you also thought we must have gotten a king's ransom for him. And then you saw it was for peanuts. And then you learned really why it was, because of all the things that happened off the field, and he had to send a message. But now it's about, okay, you can do that, but now you have to win. And what is going to be happening, we see it year in and year out, P.J. Williams, all reliable. The 2022 Jay Bellamy always finds a way back on the field. And here he is again with Marcus May suspending the first 2 games. And now our boy Chauncey off the team. These other guys are going to step up. And Ron, one more name for you. Evans, Justin Evans. Every snippet, who's hot, who's not, or the beat writers and what you even saw in the preseason games, he was good. He's a local dude that played real well for the Buccaneers way back when. Then he was hurt, and they had a great offseason. So that might be part of the reasons why the Saints feel confident in letting Chauncey Gardner-Johnson go.
Wait, Marcus Mays suspended 2 games?
Yeah, he lied about his DUI. I don't know how a guy in the NFL thinks he can get away with a DUI. For not related to his recent charge, he's suspended the first 2 games.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, major red flags on Marcus May with the DUI and now this. And, just that part's upsetting. And so it's got some of the fans concerned, Jay. Some of the faithful here. The fan question here is, we were all hyped about the secondary last podcast, arguably the best ever Saints secondary, unanimous 10 out of 10, and most exciting part of the Saints this year. But after the changes with Chauncey and the uncertainty with Marcus May, where does the PST team rate the 2022 secondary on a scale of 10? This is coming from the liability.
All right, so this is Stephen Barrios with George Landrum right now at the Beer Garden. Can I put a word on the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade real quick here?
No.
No, thank you. I saw the trade happen, and I get why they did it. He has a contract year. We're not going to get much return from him. We're not going to pay him here. I get that. But I will say, I woke up the next day, thought about it after seeing the trade. I was like, did we really get our money's worth in a trade for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? Don't think so. We lost a key part to our defense, plus a guy that is going to be a player for our team, a guy that's a headhunter. He's ready to make the play. He's ready to do some things. But I don't think we got back what we could do. Did I wake up the next day and think, hey, are we a better defense now than we are 24 hours ago and see this team here? No, I don't think so. I know Marcus May, DUI, and I know the rest of our defense, Peter Williams can play that role, but Chauncey was a guy who's a headhunter. He's ready to go. He's gonna fight somebody on the field if he has to. I don't think we got better from that trade plus the return value from him.
Listen, Barry, I think it's a good question. But if you read the tea leaves, and this is just my hunch here, I think everybody would agree with you that what the Saints got back for Chauncey does not match the value of what he brings, first as a player, and second what he brings in intangibles to a defense and to a team. And his intangibles are as great as his tangibles and his playing ability, which is saying a lot. Yes, it is a unique position, but he brings a great deal to that defense. So the question is, why do you do it? Why do you trade him for a 4th round pick, a 6th round pick, or even, it might not even be that good?
I'll tell you why right now.
I'll tell you why.
All right.
So the answer is, to me, is because he was putting up so much of a stink. He's probably a guy that has, some respect in that locker room for everything that he's done here. He's got the people that look up to him. He's got the rookies that look up to him. And he's not taking coaching. He's not doing this. At what point is it worth having the best nickelback in the league around for one more hour? It seems to me like Dennis Allen was like, I can't have this MFer in my locker room for one more minute, being a cancer, being contagious to the whole defense. We got a great thing going, whether he's here or not. And it was an extra fuck you with what they got back for him, saying, look, the ship will go on without you. I can't deal with you for one more minute because you're going to ruin the chemistry of what we got going here. Yes, they could potentially have waited 2 weeks, but they didn't want him in the locker room infecting others in those 2 weeks. So that's my translation of it all.
So I think that I get Chauncey. He was in those trade rumors with the Deshaun Watson trade, yada, yada, yada. He got roped up in that. He was thinking about, hey, team doesn't want me. I get that. I do get that. But is he going to not play his heart out in a contract year for a season and try and, get more money elsewhere than what he got maybe at Philadelphia, whatever? So I just don't see why you trade Chauncey right now, especially for the return we got for him. He is a starting slot corner in the league. Yes, I get it. He's maybe not the best in coverage, but he's an enforcer on your back, and he's willing to hit somebody. He's ready to go. So
how
Barrios,
Bradley Roby start last year? Did you notice which games he started and how we did?
Bradley Roby, he's a corner.
at the
He's not.
nickel
He's a corner.
He played the nickel position when Gardner was out last year.
Yeah, but he is a corner at heart. He's not a nickel. He's not a guy who's ready to hit somebody.
It might be what he is at heart, but he still did fine.
Yeah. So Barrios, here's where I'm at. To me, it just comes down to general managing, 101. The same way we weren't going to pay a tight end wide receiver money with Jimmy Graham is the same way we're not going to pay Chauncey Gardner-Johnson top corner money or top safety money when he only plays this niche position that we've got a handful of guys that can fill that role.
So what if you don't pay him this year? All right, we get it. He's going to expend his rookie contract. We don't pay him this year. We let him ride though. And I get that he might have a discrepancy with the coaching staff, stuff like that. But you let him play. Let him prove to other teams even that he is the guy and go from there.
This is like, why don't you keep a bad employee on, just let them prove themselves, let them taint the entire workforce and the entire morale of the whole team and then let them go. No, it's just like what Jay said. No, you can't let this linger. You can't let this loiter around because that whole time he's just bad mouthing the entire organization in the locker room, outside the locker room, and his heart's not in it. And yeah, when the whistle blows and the play starts, yeah, sure, he's not thinking about that in that moment. But in all that week's preparation leading up to that game, you can't have this as a distraction. You just can't have this background noise. And to me, I just still go back to I got Tyrann Mathieu this offseason, who's the same kind of player as him. So don't get me wrong. I love Chauncey Gardner-Johnson just as much as the next Ron, but I'm not going to sit here and mope about it.
So I will say, I think Chauncey is a better slot than Tyrann Mathieu is right now at this point in time in his career. Tyrann is now a true safety. He's 32, 33, whatever it is. He's lost a step. He can't be the guy that gets in the box, fights. He's willing to get the ball, willing to get in there and stop the running back. And he's willing to, but he's not the guy to do it. Chauncey brings an edge to your defense that is just unparalleled to any other safety in the league right now, maybe. He's the guy that can get in there, stop the run, and handle business. And I get why we traded him. We did get a fourth back for him, which is what we drafted him at. But I think we could have maybe gotten him for a little bit more, and we traded him for a panic trade. It just wasn't the guy. The Eagles were willing to trade, and that was the only team that traded him at the deadline for the 53-man roster.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call it a panic trade. I'd like to call it a timely trade because you're not carrying extra baggage into the season. Like, we're about to start this Super Bowl run, and like I say, you just don't want this lingering on into the season. You want to go in with who you got right now, and these are the guys that are going to go to war for you. So I mean, dude, I get all the concerns. Like, I get the impact that he brings, the edge, the competitiveness that he's got, but in the end, like it was clearly an unsalvageable relationship.
Was it really unsalvageable though? At his point in time in his career, he's a young guy, and I get he's cocky, but he is his fourth year right now. He's playing on a contract year. I get that. Yes, he is, about to be traded. May not have trust in the organization. But if you're Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, do you not think that you have to play your heart out this year to get the contract, a big money contract with that team later?
A sensible, I think that's reasonable to think, Barrios, but this has been going on for a long time, right? Why else do they draft Alontae Taylor in the second round, considering the depth that you have at defensive back? That's the reason why.
Is Alontae Taylor a guy that you draft in the second round due to not having Tyrann Mathieu then? Or is he a guy that you're going to have to try for some depth before you want to trade Shaughnessy? Now, I get this. A lot of this stems back to the Deshaun Watson trade that he was up for grabs for Deshaun Watson. But is he a guy that you're like, let's take a risk on a rookie here, maybe a guy, or a headhunter you have for your defense?
Yeah, I mean, you can get by with an average to good nickelback, and that's not going to taint your defense, right? It's not like he's an edge rusher that's TJ Watt out there or a number one cornerback like Marshawn Lattimore. We're talking about your third best cornerback ability wise on the team, right? obviously has a lot of ability. He brings a lot of intangibles, like I said. But at the end of the day, Barrios, he's replaceable. And
Yeah,
more replaceable than many other positions, not only on the team but on the defense. And I understand what he brings, again, from an intangible standpoint. But as we've touched on, there's a lot of characters on this team. There's a lot of leaders on this team. Honey Badger, DeMario Davis, Cam Jordan, every level of the defense, and they're on the offense as well. So it's not like they're lacking from that perspective.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I just like to highlight, again, replaceable position. Like Jay said, like, nobody's irreplaceable. I mean, this position, like Jay said, I mean, you're really like number 3 on the pecking order of corner. And to me, I go back to what Detillier always said: pay attention to what the Saints do, not what they say. And just like you highlighted, Barrios, like, yeah, he was considered in all the trade rumors for Watson for a reason. He was baited out there. I mean, we're looking to dump this guy clearly. And so, yeah, we're not in the halls over on Airline Highway. We don't know how long and how intense this has been. But clearly it's bad enough that, yeah, they pulled the trigger on this relatively bargain deal for the Eagles. So, yeah, to me, I got to trust with what I'm seeing that it had to have been that bad.
All right, so George is about to cut me off real quick here. I do agree. Chauncey might be a cancer in the locker room. I know he had the scrimmage with the trade rumors, so I get why you want to trade him. But do we have a guy on our team right now who is better at stopping the run? And look, we put him on George Kittle his rookie year in the NFC Championship game. I can't recall what it was, as the guy to stop an all-pro tight end. Look, I get why he was traded, and I don't disagree with it. We got his trade value back for his draft pick, which is fine. I think that we definitely traded him for what is approximately a pack of gushers. So it's kind of hard to just justify him trading him here, not waiting through the season and playing the guy, because he's still in a contract year. That's my issue here right now.
Hey, we got to wait and see what these picks turn into to properly grade this trade out. Come on.
Very true. That is very true.
It's better than, right? Marcus Williams, contract year, played well, walked, right? Mark Ingram, didn't pay him, walked. For both of those guys, you didn't get anything for them.
But we got solid city production from Marcus Williams for those 4 years.
There was no indication that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson throughout the offseason, from what I understand, was going to give you solid production when he's having shouting matches with his coach and refusing to do drills.
You kind of got me there a little bit.
Barrios, look, let's wrap it up here with the original question. Where are you ranking the secondary out of 10 right now?
Out of 10, like player-wise or league-wise?
I'm talking our secondary. If we were saying we were a unanimous 10 out of 10 with your boy Chauncey, where are we now?
With Chauncey? Oh.
Without.
Okay. So, Lat, your number 1 corner. You got to go him there. Paulson Adebo is your number 2 corner. You have to have him there. Corners are important. 3.
No. Where are you ranking us out of 10? Like if you're saying we were a 10 out of 10
okay, I'm sorry.
with Chauncey, and now that we don't have your boy Chauncey, what number are we out of 10?
Secondary-wise.
Yes.
Definitely a top 10. You're pushing top 5 still. And I know I'm kind of doing everything I said just now.
Is it?
Is it?
Are we an 8 or a 9? All right.
Are we an 8 or a 9?
10, so, we were a 10 before. Obviously, we're not a 10 anymore. What are we?
I see. I think we're still in that category, though. You have 2 solid starting corners.
I don't think you get what I'm asking. Like 10 out of 10, like 10's the best.
10's the best. I'm not saying we're 10 the best. We're not the best secondary in the league right now.
Right. So where are we now?
I call it top 10.
Where's George? Get me George.
Cannot be cut. George being caught again.
Oh my God!
Not as easy as it looks. Everybody thinks you grab a phone and
by the way, love y'all. All right.
10 out of 10.
Hey,
it's a complicated question.
You the man. Hey, yeah. I mean, really, we need to blame the liability here. I mean, not the most straightforward question here.
Who's George giving the phone to next?
I'm pretty sure George is still drafting, and that's why he keeps passing us.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I thought you were pulling a J.
To have fan interaction. It went a bit too far when I cut him off.
Thought you were pulling a J for a second there.
Oh, here I am, guys. I'll never leave you again. I get so
You
worried
sure?
about
You
y'all.
sure that guy's last name isn't Gardner Johnson? Was that his brother or
Oh,
something? Golly.
One of our favorite Barrioses. All right, I've been gone the last 10 minutes. I'm sure you've been in better hands. What's the next question, Ron?
the next
Oh
question
man, you're gonna
is
love
from
listening to that.
the next question is from Big Bird, and we talked about the most significant injury that we got, that we've been dealt so far. But George, what's the next biggest injury that could derail our season the most, or hardest to replace from terms of production?
Oh, that's a no-brainer. AK-41 Alvin Kamara.
Oh
Um,
god, what a terrible question.
What a terrible question. I don't even want to answer it. Okay, one, I don't want to get into why that'd be bad for obvious reasons, but I have a prayer candle next to me, so hopefully that offsets the jinx here. Ryan Ramrod would be a horrendous injury with already what we're seeing at our offensive line. But no, let's not put that bad juju out there. Let's say Dan Sorensen, just so we can equal out the bad juju in the universe. So
Why would you even ask that question?
final answer, Dan Sorensen, who I can't believe made the team. He looks like Joe Biden out there. You know how like in the MLB they have, Bobby Cox wear the jersey? It's like, why is that old guy managing the team? Why is he wearing the jersey? It just looks so silly.
Joe, we're not a political talk show.
He just looks like an old guy out there. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Jay, I got the next question.
Wait, hold
here.
on, Ron. I got to finish my joke here. Dan Sorensen looks like a coach who's like being forced to wear the uniform, like in the Major League Baseball. That's my whole joke.
Oh, that's great.
All right.
He looks so out of place. You see all the guys on the sideline and look at Dan Sorensen. Like, who is that guy? Oh,
He looks like an old
so
Eminem.
wait.
I want to say bye, Barrios.
Bye, Barrios. All right. So we talked about.
enough, dude.
So
You're
we
cut
talked
off.
about
You're cut off.
Sorensen, shockingly making the team. I guess, Jay, just high level, was there a surprise cut or a surprise make of this roster that really caught you off guard?
George will say Zach Bond. You want to elaborate, George?
Yeah, I really liked who was the linebacker from the Eagles that we had who played great this whole offseason?
The dude Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson looked
played well.
fantastic. And you know what? On the sideline, you just see Wilson and Demario Davis talking a ton, and they just seem to really vibe and connect. I'm wondering if that was one of those cuts that are only short term, and they bring him back thereafter. Yeah, I can't believe Zach Bond made the team. He wasn't even getting second half preseason reps. Ian Book returned that to the library. No shocker there. Traquan Smith got hurt just the right time to make the team, but no, it wasn't that crazy. I think just Zach Bond making the team and Dan Sorensen somehow making the team. I think that was a direct correlation with the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade.
And Ron, maybe I misunderstood Bird's question about injuries, but other injured players that could be impactful. Pete Werner, need him to get healthy because you're talking about linebackers behind Werner, and that guy Wilson, he did all right, but what a severe drop off even after somebody like Werner. Obviously no Quan Alexander, but that seems like a worrisome proposition there.
Oh, yeah. And you better believe Baldinger's already doing baldy breakdowns of how good Quan's looking in preseason. Killing me. But no, that's a good call, Jay. I think that's kind of the intent of the question there is like, where's our next vulnerability in terms of depth? And I think it is linebacker. It's shocking to me to see Caden Ellis and Zach Bond still hanging around on this roster. You got to think there are better veteran options out there, but maybe not. Maybe those guys are just special team studs. And speaking of special teams, George, you talked about Traquan Smith getting hurt at the right time. I don't know if that was the deciding factor that kept him on the team or not, but I just kept going back to Kirk Merritt. A guy like that just gives you a little bit something extra when it comes to special teams. And what is Traquan Smith doing for me? I think he's done a little bit of punt return, but even back there, I'm not too confident in him. So to me, I thought that this was going to be the year that we cut bait on Traquan. But I mean, were you convinced that he was going to make the team?
No, but Ron, this will be a much briefer. This is the second time it's happening in the same episode. We have another live fan question in person. We got Maddie Simmons. Maddie Simmons asking a fan question. Here you go, Maddie.
Is this Andrew's sister?
What can we expect out of Alante Taylor?
Jay, that's your boy.
My boy. Hey, Maddie. Hope you're well. We'll see you soon, October 2nd at the Covington Beer Garden.
They love it. Oh,
Yeah. Alante Taylor, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect from the Saints coming into the season. I mean, it's hard to have any inkling of what to expect the way NFL coaches are now approaching the preseason. And I mean, like the Rams game 3 of preseason are starting some quarterback you never heard of. Ian Book's getting 85% of the snaps and cut, rightfully so. He's terrible. But I don't know, just preseason is so different than what it used to be. Remember, not that long ago, like it would be Drew Brees playing 3 quarters. I guess now there's such an emphasis on practice. And then the other thing is that the seasons are 17 games now. So they're doing everything they can to get those guys ready to go for game 1 and to remain healthy throughout the season. But getting back to Alante Taylor, Maddie, I think he's a guy that seemed to have high praise early on in training camp and then was banged up. I sure hope he's not somebody that is always dealing with lingering issues. But he seems like an exciting player, good personality, and they drafted him at a pretty high spot. So it tells what you think of him. And getting back to Berrios's tirade from earlier, they wouldn't have drafted that guy unless they thought he could come in and contribute this year in a big spot that Chauncey Gardner played so well for a long time.
And that's it right there, Jay. Ding, ding, ding. I mean, pay attention to what they do, not what they say. They drafted this guy to replace Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's role because that's the kind of player he was at Tennessee, instinctive to the ball. So I just think that's what you can expect. And so this guy might have a golden opportunity to instantly contribute here with some legal trouble in the secondary and a convenient trade for him. So yeah, I look for him to step up and have an impact. And so yeah, we'll see what he's worth right out of the gates here. Okay, so George, any more live?
No man. I'm sorry about Berrios.
No, dude. Hey, we love the passion from the Rons, dude. Like I said, that went from. I mean, that sounded like under the overpass, but it was under the overhang of the beer garden. Dude.
I will say about Berrios, Berrios is probably one of our top 5 biggest Rons. Not like the contributor. He texts a good bit, but he probably has listened to every episode at least once. So it's and every Ron out there, you're all cordially invited, whether in person or instant message or recording yourself. No matter what you say, it's more fun with y'all involved. So you can't sound worse than Berrios.
George, wait till you listen, man. He was more prepared than Skip Bayless at 6 a.m.
Dude,
kidding.
I've talked football within the last 6 years. I know what he brings to the table. But, Ron, we got other fan questions out there. Didn't Jez Witt have something for us?
He did have something for us. So let's kick it over to Jez Witt, who's asking, will the weatherman be able to report this week, or will logistics get in the way?
Hey, Rons, it's Red, the weatherman. And this Sunday, September 11th at noon, your New Orleans Saints are heading on over to Atlanta to take on the Falcons in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which still don't sound right to me, Rons. But anyway, let's get right on over to the weather, as it's going to be a hot one with a high of 89 degrees. It's going to feel like 100 degrees. And there's going to be a couple thunderstorms in the area throughout the day with a 60% chance of rain. I'm seeing a brisk wind from the northeast at 4 to 10 miles per hour. Basically, when you throw all these conditions into my weather calculator, Rons, you will see that the retractable roof will be closed on Sunday. And remember, Rons, one important thing. Whether you like it or not, it's Red, the weatherman.
All right, Jay, I got to get you a question because Ron wasn't there. Who won the shirtless push-up contest at the Golden Nugget? And can we get a Week 17 rematch under the overpass?
Joe Martin won the shirtless push-up competition. He crushed Grammy. It wasn't even close. He's been working out 4 times a week, 2 times a week with the trainer. Some would call it shocked, but this is what happens when you put the work in. Boogie Martin, one of the original hosts of this show, 58 push-ups. Graham, 22 push-ups.
Wow. Jay,
Fact.
it's
Dude.
what you do when nobody's watching, dude. That's why it's not a shock to Boogs.
That's right.
Boogie was incredible. I didn't know he had that in him. That was
Really,
that was the best part of the draft.
it's pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
Damn, George, you think I should challenge him with my little alligator arms?
No, just stay away.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, there's nothing to win there. There's nothing to win. All right, speaking of wins, Jay, we talked a little bit about this. I think you maybe alluded to a little bit of, you don't know how many games they're going to win or what this season's going to bring, but that's what the Rons want to know. What is the prediction for this year? What are the Saints going to do record-wise? I need to know if I need to pull the trigger on this bet for over 8.5 wins.
Ron, I'm going to say I was more optimistic before the Penning injury, before the trade, before the Marcus May news. With that said, I'm going from 12-5 to 10-7.
Damn, 2-game difference for all that talk down about Chauncey right there, huh?
Well,
right.
If you listened, Ron, it's important to listen and not hear. I brought up more than Chauncey, Marcus May, and Trevor Penning.
Okay. So you brought up our backup left tackle and Marcus May, who, right as of right now, what we're looking at 2 games.
It goes back to the offensive line, Ron. That's who I'm going to be watching exclusively game 1. That's the position I'm going to be watching. If that group can play really well, this team has a great chance to be elite and make a conference championship game and then some. If Jameis is protected with the weapons that we have, then we can do some real damage this year. The defense will be good. Paulson Adebo combination with Marcus Lattimore. We love our boy Paulson, but I don't know. There's just some type of feeling that I have that he is going to be special throughout his career. And we saw it last year, how good he was, but I think he's going to be much better this year. And that's saying a lot. So if you got lockdown Lattimore on one side, a Debo dealing on the other side, I feel really good about it. If our offensive line can keep Jameis upright and have him throwing darts like he was to Jarvis and Olave last game, we're going to be in good shape.
George, what do you think?
Wait, I want to address the position. So last week we went on WWL and we brought it up, and I'd like to address it here on our own podcast. Defensive tackle, I feel, is a bit worrisome. You have Shai Tuttle. You have Onyemata after the star caps. He didn't play as well as the Onyemata we're accustomed to. Malcolm Roach went on IR. Albert Huggins went on IR. We have Contavious Street. So we have 3 DTs that we're not in love with. There's no Fairley, Sheldon, Rankins, Leroy Glovers, Cedric Ellis's. Malcolm Brown was available there for a minute. There's not a great DT there, let alone a great rotation that we've seen recently. That's a bit worrisome. I know those unnamed guys stepped up last year when Onyemata was out, but we're going to ask them to do it again. Maybe it's a bridge too far. And we brought this up last episode, do you see more Cam Jordan going inside, especially on 3rd and longs? So you have Peyton Turner and Davenport in the field simultaneously with Cam Jordan. So to me, I think DT is a position to monitor because we're especially thin. And to be thin at DT and linebacker is a horrible combination on first and second downs as we go to defend the run.
Yeah, George, I mean, you don't speak for all of us there when you say we don't have any DTs that we love. I mean, I always will have an affinity for Shy Tuttle because he gave me one of the greatest GIFs in the universe, stiff arming Matt Ryan. So, I mean,
Rob, it's GIF. You always say GIF. It's not the peanut butter. It's GIF.
No, it's definitely GIF. I mean,
No,
it's
it's definitely not.
It's a
Not spelled
GIF.
JIF, Ron.
Ron,
Okay,
you always
well-
say it. It's like, no, you make us sound dumb. It's GIF. I don't care what Google says. If you go
Oh,
talk
man.
to human beings on Earth, they say GIF. Wait, one thing I want to talk about too. I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy about DT and linebacker. Guys, I know it's Labor Day. You're going to be you've probably already drafted your fantasy football teams, but those that wait to the bitter end, I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I'm going to give you one more name. Chris Olave is going to be a fantastic rookie. Everyone is accustomed to Mike Thomas. The star corners on every NFL team are going to line up against Mike Thomas, and that's going to allow our boy to light it up. And he's just a silky smooth. Jay can go on and on about how he looks, as we've talked about on the phone every morning. But it's like he's the best of what Lance Moore and Brandon Cooks brings to the table combined. And I just think the as long as Jameis gets protection, this man's going to have 1,100 yards and a field day in his rookie year.
Ron, you know who I told George that I was in the Superdome and I watched him on that catch from Jameis, and I had a light bulb moment when he caught the ball in the middle of the field and he kind of ducked down. Of course, Lance Moore did that, but Olave is more explosive than Moore, faster than Moore. Kind of reminded me of like Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. Remember Greatest Show on Turf? Those guys that would just find the open spots on the field, kind of get down, preserve themselves. I don't know. Just after I saw him make that play and do that, I'm like, oh, that's who he. Because I guess I've been struggling a little bit. Like, what's his comp? Who's he like? Who can I compare him to? And then when I saw that, I was like, man, shit.
Well,
if he could be half of that, we're all right.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that you would compare him to another first rounder in Torrey Holt and not a UDFA from Toledo, Lance Morris. But yeah, dude.
What does that have anything to do with it? You saw what Lance. Don't put his draft status to belittle him.
Bro, you're gonna. Oh, I mean, I'm not belittling the guy. I'm putting him where he ranks. Like Torrey Holt, one of the best wide receivers ever. He's in the Hall of Fame. Lance Moore is in the Saints Hall of Fame. So
Torrey Holt from
Torrey Holt from NC State. Yeah.
Oh, think about it more, Ron. Took you long.
So, George, I was too busy Googling how to pronounce GIF. I can't wait to send you all this crap. So I wasn't looking up where Torrey Holt went to college.
Say.
Dude, that's what everything on Google says. So Google is the earth. All right, George, we never got your season prediction, so let's get it in a jiffy.
10, 6, and 1.
Whoa. All right. So, care to elaborate on that, or that's just it?
I think they're going to have 10 wins. I think they're going to have 6 losses and then a tie.
George,
I'm being a smart ass. I'm sorry,
George,
Ron.
it's pronounced thigh. All right. It's not, it's pronounced thigh.
Tie is in the language in the country. Ron, I mean, I think this is what the team looks like right now. This Saints team has a huge range. There's some key components that would propel this team to contend in the NFC. And there are some things that might make us very, very 500. And offensive line is Jameis. How the D-line plays, the secondary, of course. The secondary, we were all expecting to be spectacular. And now as the season's about to begin, they might go to good, So that might – they'll still be that might be great. You do have a Debo, you do have Lattimore, you do have Honey Badger, who – let's see what we get out of them. There's so much – how many times have we brought in a big name, Champ Bailey, AP, who maybe that name is so much more than who they actually are. So the hype, especially because of the fact that he's from New Orleans, his play on the field doesn't match his hype. And I'm not going to compare him to Jarius Byrd, but maybe we're crowning Honey Badger a bit too soon.
Okay. I mean, so what I will say, and y'all have kind of said this without saying it, is, the defense is going to be who we think they are. The offensive line, whether we have Trevor Penning in there or not, I don't see being a huge radical difference, in terms of scale of play. So I think it all just funnels back to this team's going to go as far as Jameis takes us. The pass protection might not be as good as it's ever been in Saints history, but he's got to be decisive. He's got to be the man that we think he can be. And if he's that, I mean, we know what these weapons are. It's incredible, the transformation that we've got on the perimeter here in terms of getting back healthy and getting back draft picks and these free agent signings. So to me, that just excites me a lot, considering how well this defense played last year. And that's why I got to go 11-6. Ain't going to be no ties this year, George.
The price is right in us.
I mean, y'all the ones going $1. I'm going higher. So, dude, I'm going 11-6. I think it's all about how this team starts, and that's why we highlighted at the front end of this show. Love that we're kicking it off with an opponent like the Falcons, because week 2 we got to ramp it up in the dome, y'all. I can't wait for that one. So, all right, George, Jay, anything we missed?
Yeah, who's the Falcons running back? I don't even know.
Dude, I challenge you to name 5 guys off their depth chart.
Drake London, Cordell Patterson, Marcus Mariota, Kyle Pitts, Jake Matthews,
Trey
Chris.
Burton.
Come on, Ron. We think we're amateurs here? I mean, we're the podcast.
So
Jones.
Jay named their starting running back Cordero. I never get any younger Patterson. Jeez, if this dude burns us again this year, he's the second coming of Joey Galloway. I mean, it's going to just drive me nuts.
Ron, we're in season now, so how about a score prediction?
Hey-o.
Wait. Before we get to that, Ron, what was your question? You just said, what did we miss out on this episode before we end it and get the predictions? We got something big to announce. Today is the 5th. We haven't had an episode since last month. So did anybody turn 24 years young in the last month? In the last episode?
Guilty. My Giannis Antetokounmpo year.
Hey,
happy birthday. Yay.
Appreciate the love. Appreciate the love. The love
And
was
then
felt.
September 10th, we got our boy Andrew turning 37 years old.
One of the 7 people that appeared on this episode.
That's right.
We forgot to troll Barrios with Mark Ingram taking Chauncey's number back, 22.
Oh, bro.
Wonder what his thoughts are on that. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight without knowing.
Well, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, bro. Oh gosh, dude.
Hey,
This
I
is
will
the
say,
podcast.
I will say about Chauncey. Without him in our lineup, we're well below 500. He brings a lot to the team.
Okay, how many of those games were we also without Jameis Winston?
I don't know all that.
So I think that's a loaded stat right there.
That goes into Drew Brees too, though.
Okay, there could be games in there where we're without Drew Brees. I'm thinking that's a loaded stat right there.
Yeah,
I will do the homework on that one.
All right, Ron, what is your prediction on Sunday's opening game against the Falcons?
Let's look at the numbers on this one, y'all. So this is a 5.5 point spread, I believe, as of right now. So to me, I'm looking at that like I'm hitting Saints to cover here. I don't know what y'all are thinking, but this is feeling like a 2-possession W right here. So I'm thinking that this one's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 27-17. George, am I going too many points for the Falcons?
No, I think that's perfect. I feel as though it'll be comfortable, and like the Falcons always do. They're going to have a garbage time touchdown the fourth quarter. And then, like, right when you think, we're comfortable, they're going to make you nervous right there at the end. And then we'll run it out the clock. I think that's a perfect score prediction. I'll copy and paste it, Ron, because I always agree with you. You're always right about everything. And I do one more thing about this game. I bet you it won't be like the Cowboys-Saints game last year, but I'd imagine it's going to be 60-40 Falcon fans to Saints fans in there. I think there's going to be a whole lot of Houdads making that drive to 285 to go to Atlanta for this game.
George, do we have your Charleston boy on this episode?
Should we call him?
John Jones.
No, John's Panthers,
No.
Bird.
Oh,
T-Pack.
bro.
Mr. Dirty Bird, Mr.
You
T-Pack.
know that. All right, I'm picking the Falcons to cover the spread. Saints 27, Falcons 24.
You think Mariota and this offense putting up 24 on us? I almost want to redact my pick, and I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. Go with the gut, but I could see the defense showing out this week. So
I hope you're right.
all right. All right, so I got the little plug in there for Ingram taking 22 back. That's all I got for this week, George. What else you got?
Did we mention Covington Beer Garden?
I don't know. Wait, George, what is the Covington Beer Garden?
October 2nd, we fight world dehydration, one drink at a time. October 2nd, Saints play at 8:30 in the morning. We open at 8 a.m. We'll have British English breakfast for you. We'll have coffee. We'll have tea. We'll have wine. We'll have daiquiris. We'll have beer, and we'll have fun. October 2nd, the world, the universe. Have some fun. We're gonna have
George, I'm a really big Saints fan. Are there enough TVs there?
Yes, Jansen. There are over 8 TVs. Yes, there are plenty of TVs. You can watch it from any vantage point you want. We might even have a guest appearance from some of your favorite Pro Saints talk stars, including Barrios. Steven, that is.
George, wait. I play fantasy football. Am I going to be able to watch all the games there?
Ron, every game you want to see will be here, especially your red zone teams. Your games on red zone. So I do appreciate, guys. I'm being a bit sarcastic here, but hey, it's been a lot of hard work, but now we're getting to it. We're in downtown Covington. We'll be opening soon, October 2nd. You're all cordially invited.
Hey, George.
Yes, sir.
I like hanging out with my kid on Sundays. Any issue with bringing them to the beer garden?
No, we have a restaurant permit. Thanks to the ATC, we have a restaurant permit. All kids are welcome.
Awesome.
Any more brain busters?
Hey, George,
George,
I'm into some weird beers. Will you have more than just Bud Light and Coors?
I'm afraid not. You come in, there's 2 selections, Bud Light or Coors. No,
George, I'm really thirsty. Is there going to be enough Bud Light and Coors?
Yes, Ron. Thanks to you who helped cater or tailor our beer menu. We'll have 22 beers on tap and plenty others, bottle selections, cocktails.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, 22.
Bring them back, man.
22.
Tracy Porter's the real 22.
Yeah, you're right.
But we're a month away, so we're a little bit less than that. So, a few Saints games will be under our belt by then, but we'll have some room temperature ale for you to help celebrate. How did Andrew do on his initial shout out?
Oh, Andrew did great. Really great.
Great. All right, Ron, we'll let you go. You did a great job as always. UTO, September 18th. Last time we were there during the preseason, kind of tent city kind of spread to us, but that won't stop us. We're still planting the flag. UTO, Tom Brady might finally leave a sabbatical and get off the hammock and play a little football, and Cam Jordan's going to come eat his lunch.
UTO, it's going to be intense.
Oh, great.
Oh.
Jay, was your toe pun intended earlier?
Oh, yeah.
Good. That's what I thought.
We out here.
All right. Pro Saints talk. We out here.
Super Bowl!
What do you hear? What do you say? He, she's, and theys. Back again. All right. Five games for you. Let's start off. You always got to bet the first game of the year. Give me the Bills. They're laying 2.5 points with the defending champs. They're a favorite for a reason going into the season. I like the Bills to go in there and at least win that game by a field goal or possibly more. Going into Sunday, give me the Steelers against everybody's favorite Joe. They're catching 6.5 points. Mike Tomlin is an underdog. I went through it ad nauseum last year. Give me the Steelers and the 6.5. Another dog before two favorites. Give me the Giants. They're catching 5.5 against the Titans. I think this is the year it finally all falls apart for Vrabel over there in Nashville. Saquon looks to be healthy. This is make it or break it year for Danny Jones. Give me the Giants and the 5.5 points. They're not going to win, but they're certainly going to keep it close enough. Maybe even sneak in a back door there. All right, let's go with two big road favorites. Give me the Ravens, -7 at the Jets. The Jets are a disaster. Always have been, always will be. Baltimore, Harbaugh, super focused, going to come out. I feel like every year they come out week one and just absolutely decimate their opponents as a big favorite. Give me the Ravens -7 points, and that's only going to keep going up. Finally, your Saints. This goes against a lot of the rules, but give me the Saints laying 5.5 on the road in the Butthole Dome, the Mercedes-Benz, whatever they're calling it now. I think you're going to see a very focused Saints team come out on Sunday. This isn't like a new situation like every other situation when you got a new coach coming in. This is the same program. They understand what to do. Everybody knows their job. I think Jameis looked good. Jameis is crisp. You are going to see the Saints, I think, make a statement that they are still certainly a playoff contender moving forward. All right, that's it.
This is it, y'all. We about to get at them Falcons. 5-star T-Bone and the Who Dat Nation. We about to do them up second line style, y'all. Forget what they said, forget what you heard. The Saints about to duck